My name is Kelly Addison, and I'm the Development Director here at the Women's Shelter of South Texas. My name is Sammy Ramon, and I am the Development Coordinator for the Women's Shelter of South Texas.
My name is Linda Duenas, and I am the Battering Intervention and Prevention Program Director, BIP Program Director.
We are addressing an issue within the community that is very prevalent right now, and that is domestic violence and sexual assault. The reason that we're here is to address an issue that faces 1 in 4 Texans. Statistics show us that this is something that affects us, whether it's in our own families, whether it's a friend of ours, a coworker, a classmate, or it may be someone that we haven't met yet, and maybe a future partner, or within our own families. Well, we had a client that lived in the Kings Crossing area, Patricia. Back in September, Patricia, unfortunately, she's no longer with us because she was killed by her spouse. Patricia came to our shelter seeking counseling and our services. Patricia did everything by the book. She went and sought out the services from the shelter. She talked to a legal advocate. She had a protection order that was placed on her spouse. However, Patricia decided that she wasn't going to be the one to leave her home, although she was advised. She felt that it wasn't her fault. This wasn't her doing. She didn't need to flee Corpus Christi. She went back to her home, as she rightfully should, and unfortunately her husband followed, and he ended her life and then used his own. The murders that happened at the end of September, early October 2014 really brought to light one of the stereotypes and some of the victim blaming that happens for victims of domestic violence. We had 2 murders that occurred just days apart, and in that you saw people from 2 different socioeconomic groups, 2 different races, 2 different ages. You had a variety of factors, yet the same underlying issue existed: domestic violence. All of the programs that we provide for victims are free. Last year we served 2,667 adults and children. Of those served last year, 1,200 of those were children. While we do primarily serve women, we also serve men who are victims of domestic violence. And then when we look at those 1,200 kids we served, about half of those are males as well.
Well, my program is really unique. I think a lot of people are not aware that the Women's Shelter offers any type of services to the offenders of domestic violence. And it's really important that we do support this program, because if you do not provide intervention and services and funding and resources into these offenders, then you might as well keep on building those women's shelters over and over, because you have to deal with the root cause, and that's the men that are offending.
Our agency runs 100% on donations from our community members as well as from grants. So that is looking at our taxpayer dollars and then how are those redistributed back into our community through programs like the Women's Shelter of South Texas.